Somewhere back here you messed up and the timeline skewed off over here, where you're screwed. All right, it's that time again. Time for the solo overnighter in the woods. And I'm thinking solo overnight using survival gear from Walmart. Let's get to it. Moving forward, for the next couple of videos, meaning a couple of overnighters, we're going to break them down into two-part series. We're going to show the gear in part one, talk through it, discuss why I chose this item over that item, and what the overall intent is. And then the next part's going to be out there demonstrating, using the gear, setting it up, going through the motions, doing the camp out, cooking, maybe some skills, things like that. We're doing this experiment because I've recently discovered, which I've already known for several years now, and I've talked about it, and people don't want to admit that it's true. But after looking at the analytics and talking to a few other people and a couple of people on the inside, and I'll leave it at that, it was 100% confirmed to me that certain channels, mine being one of them, most channels in this category or genre are marked, and you are now receiving a cap on your videos. You're going to wake up, number one performing video, it's going to be 50,000 views, and that's going to be it. You're cut off. Now, if it goes more, it's because you pushed it, but you're cut off at this. You won't receive any more than this, while others continue to just do this. So I'm doing this experiment to gather data, and I'll discuss that in the future. There's also another experiment I will be doing here shortly, and you're all going to be made aware of it, and you can all choose to be part of it. And we'll discuss that down the road. On that note, let's go ahead and dive into this. What we did was, I went to Walmart, and I did this about 5 or 6 years ago, but we had different gear. And I thought I can go ahead and do this one of two ways. I can buy the exact same gear and just show the inflation rate. We know it's about 20-25% from 6 years ago. Okay, I could do that. But then I thought, my kit has actually changed now. Like, for example, I'm using pocket knives for most of the things I do. The gear's changed a little bit. So I thought, why not take that same mindset, go back to Walmart, and buy those items in the sporting goods section only at the cost of today, and see where we fall at compared to, 6 years ago, and then take that gear out and actually use it, with the overall intent of people who can't afford high-end gear, go to Walmart, purchase these items that are still usable, that are still decent. That way you have a good kit you can camp out with 3 to 5 times a year, and actually go out there, have fun, practice skills, and have items that will get the job done. Now, I've just said all that, and someone's still going to say, $150, $200 for an overnighter? I can go to a hotel, get a 24-pack of beer and some cigs. Well, then you missed the entire thing that I said. The point is to have a kit that you can practice with that could be in the trunk of your car. It could be in a closet. It could be on your back. You could hike with this. And if something were to happen to you, you are just inconveniently camping for the evening until you can walk out the next day. So on that note, let's go ahead and kick this off. But be forewarned, not all Walmarts are created equal. The main item of every single kit is something to carry the items in. And usually it's a backpack. And especially for a day hike, people could say they could use a haversack, and that's perfectly fine. However, the more items you carry, the more options you have, the bigger the container you need to carry those items. In my opinion, 25 to 30 liter backpack, and you're golden, because the amount of items you're going to carry are probably going to take up less than half of the space on this backpack. leaving you open airspace for other items you want to bring. More food, more water, filters, sleeping pads, things like that. So for something like this, gray, green, yellow, blue, orange, your preference. You have multiple pouches here. You have one on top. You have the main pouch that will hold the bulk of your items. And you have external pouches as well on the outside here. One large vertical one to slide items in from the side, as well as, let me open this flap here, another internal pocket on the outside. So here's your main one, secondary, and then there's your third. Along with that, as you wear this, it'll be on the right side, sorry, left side. You have a small pouch here at the bottom. And the best part, on the side, you have a pocket that's large enough to carry a 40-ounce water bottle. The bulk of every single kit, even the old school military gear kit that I showed you from 1997, 24 years ago, seems to be your sleep system. Now, let's go over this one by one. It's summertime, it's hot. You might not want a blanket at all, but then again you might. Late summer, early fall, or late spring, it's going to be cool at night, down in the 40s. You want something that will retain your body heat and get that little nip out of the air. Now, normally in my videos you see a poncho liner. So I tried to find something that was equivalent to that. And this packable blanket by Ozark Trail is right around a 5 by 6, 6.5-ish in length. Now the color, that's on the inside, but pink seems to always be on the inside. And we got blue on the outside. But if you look at it, it's almost quilted just like a poncho liner. Okay, so it should do the exact same thing. It even feels the same. It's Walmart's version of that, so I'm okay with that. It is what it is. And will it get the job done? Is it lightweight? Yes. So here's our sleeping blanket. I did 2 Walmart videos, and I'm trying to think whether it was the first one or the second one. The second one I had a hammock and I was in Arizona. The first one was just a gear dump video, and I could have sworn in that video from 6 years ago, I think it was, 6 or 7 years ago, they had a Silnai tarp from Walmart with grommets that were sewn into it. It was beautiful. They no longer make that for some reason. And that's the one downfall of Walmart. Well, there's many downfalls of Walmart. But if you go through the camping and sporting goods aisles, you see hammocks, you'll see tents, but you're never going to see an actual 8x8 Silnai ultralight tarp. It's always these things right here. So I was forced to buy one. We have a 6x8 medium duty 5.1 mil tarp. Will it get the job done? Yes. Can you use it multiple times over, say, an Arcturus emergency blanket? Yes. Do you still run the risk of pulling grommets out? Yes. But again, if you're shopping at Walmart and this is all they have or all you can get a hold of, will it work for multiple uses? Yes, it will. Now, last item here is controversial. Some people will say, I don't need to carry sticks. I can make them out in the woods. And yes, you can. I've demonstrated that several times. Here's the question, though. If it starts dumping rain and you know in 2 to 5 minutes you're going to be soaking wet, are you going to sit out there and try to carve 6 stakes, then put a shelter up? Or can you get a shelter up in 2 minutes or less, which I've demonstrated here on my channel several times. So again, think of the intent. You're on a day hike. You have no intention of staying the night out there at all. However, I want my bag set up with the intent that I might have to. And I might have to put something up immediately. So why not carry plastic stakes? Now, plastic over aluminum or over actual metal. I've shown on my channel several times. You can take these, shave off this fin right here so you can still use the tent stake, and use all that plastic with either a ferro rod or a Bic lighter and light it for a fire starter or flame extender to get your fire going in an emergency. When we kicked this off, I said, not all Walmarts are created equal. And here's why. I'm holding a wide mouth stainless steel bottle. It's a single wall from Clean Canteen. I've never seen one of these in the store. It cost me 29 bucks, so I bought it up. And I bought the last one in my store from BFE, Ohio. I highly suggest you go to the sporting goods section, hunting section, and check and see if you have these and grab them up. So either they have a contract or they just finished a contract, because I haven't seen any more in any other Walmarts. Now, if you don't have access to this, and this should be your first option, it's a stainless steel bottle that you can boil water in to disinfect that water and kill the viruses, bacteria, protozoas, and parasites and make that water safe to drink. However, if you don't have access to this and you can't get one of these in your store, we got a secondary option right here. This right here is the same size threading and mouth that will mimic a water bottle or a 2-liter soda bottle. Now, where am I going with this? There's a lot of filters nowadays by LifeStraw, Sawyer, and even Red Cross, where they have a tube that mimics a LifeStraw, where you have the option of going down to a puddle or a creek or pond or lake and drinking the water straight out of it. Or on the bottom, you can take that and screw it on here, and that way the water you collected, you can now drink out of it. There's no need for bags or squeezing bags or screwing around. It will go directly on, like I said, an adapter like this, or even one of those 1-liter bottles, or even a 2-liter bottle. So it's something to think about. I did not purchase that because I have my stainless steel bottle, and that's my preferred way of disinfecting water. But be aware, they make bottles like this now with a filter option. If filters aren't your thing, like I already mentioned, we have the water purification tablets, standard 2 tabs per US quart. Wait 30 minutes and you're good to go. What I have right here is an adult size poncho. Now, truth be told, I've said several times on my channel, give me an option of a tarp or a poncho, I'm taking a poncho. But this material here is the same as a shower curtain. And I've done videos before where we've had a shower curtain and made shelters out of them. But that to me is not long term, and probably won't last 3 days. For an emergency, yes. Something like this, that's as thin as this is, you actually do have a better chance with an Arcturus or one of those grabber emergency blankets. This, I guarantee, will get set up. It might last a night. If you pull too hard on those grommets, it's going to rip. But will it cover your body? And that's the main thing, the morale booster. Also, what is it? The color is red. I can take this out to an open field, make it into a flag. I can wave it around. I can stick it on a flag pole, let the wind wave it, get the contrast and movement. So there's multiple things you can do with this. Worst case, you have a secondary shelter option. I've never been a fan of Leatherman or Gerber or multi-tools in general, because I always feel that it will try to do everything but not be good at one thing that you want, and that's the knife. The knives always seem to suck on those things. And this one right here, same thing, it sucks. But I thought I'd change it up. For those that like multi-tools, here you go. This is Ozark Trail. It was very cheap, but it has everything on here that I'm going to need to do this overnighter and provide for my basic needs. Even cut down saplings that big around for a shelter. So why not show something like this and change things up and show that this is just as capable of getting the job done as a pocket knife. Bic lighter sold by itself at Walmart like $1.97. You can buy a 3-pack for around $3 and change. So you actually get more bang for your buck. But I have about 50 of these, so it is what it is. But the Bic lighter, again, first time every time, the instant gratification. There's this movement going around that, well, if you default to a Bic lighter, then you have no skill. Well, here's my take on that. If you're saying that about me, then you've missed 15 years of skills. But if you're saying about people in general, then here's the reality behind that. When survival is real, are you going to play around with flint and steel and hope that the char is not compromised? Are you going to play around with a ferro rod and have to go find tinder that is hopefully dry enough to where it takes those sparks? And it should for the most part, but you got to play with it, maybe hit it 2 or 3 more times. It's a very good thing to have as a secondary. Or do you want something that's guaranteed, and that's a form of a lighter? Okay. Zippo lighter would be my secondary choice, not my primary. If I toss this with the Zippo into the water, Zippo's going to sink to the bottom and be gone. This will actually float, and it sucks to say it because you never want to go to the woods with 1/3 lighter or 1/4 lighter, but the less fluid in here, the more airspace that there is. Makes sense? The more buoyant that lighter is going to be. It's going to flip upside down and float. You can see it and grab it. Like I already mentioned, a backup should be a good ferrocerium rod. Now, unfortunately, my Walmart carries these, and it's about a 1/4 inch, if that, by 2-inch little rod. However, it does throw sparks. So, will this do the job as a good backup? Yes, it will. Will it light a fire? Yes, it will. Will it guarantee me hot sparks in any conditions? Rain, snow, high winds? Yes. And it's high visibility color because I drop it out here in green grass or in the weeds. I can look down and see it. So something like this can be tossed into a pack, and the Bic lighter can go in my pocket, and I have one with me at all times and one in my gear. Paracord. Now, someone's going to say, he said never use paracord. Lols. Well, you're right, I don't. However, once again, not all Walmarts are created equal. Some Walmarts actually have tarred bank line. However, not all tarred bank line is created equal. And what I found is in the fishing section, a lot of Walmarts carry the white trot line for catfish, and they have the tarred version of that. And all it is black. And it rubs right off, and it looks like garbage. It won't last very long. It's not stiff. It's not rigid. And in my opinion, it's garbage compared to the CMI bank line you can get on Amazon. So instead of ordering that or buying that, I'm going to go with what they had, and that's Paracord. You have 50 feet of 550. It's military grade, high vis. Will it set a shelter up as an ridge line? Yes. Can I use this for a bow drill string? Yes. Shoelaces? Yes. Can I fish with the inner strands of this? Yes. So will it provide for my basic needs for 1 to 3 nights out in the woods? Yes, it will. We have our 1-inch roll of duct tape. Why? Because there's a million uses for this. It's impossible to even fathom, even talk about how many things you can do with this. The number one thing I've always used this for, and I'm not going to lie, every single time, is to take off a good 1 long to 1.5 foot piece, roll it up, light it on fire, and the thing will burn for 20 minutes. It's a great flame extender. Most duct tape I found, sticking it on tarps or anything with dirt on it or rain, it's going to peel right off. So as far as tent repair goes and things like that, that to me is more of a fantasy. But if it's all you had, sure. But again, the number one thing I use it for is a flame extender. So this next item here is worth a few laughs, but it's the best I could do. And if this is all you have, you messed up somewhere. You know, it's like Back to the Future. The timeline skewed off down here somewhere, and it created an alternate reality where you're screwed. You messed up somewhere back here. We'll get into the whole button compass thing here in a minute, and the realities of that. But you have a whistle. You have a magnifying glass or sun lens, which will give you a third fire option. Bic lighters first, ferro rod, magnifying glass. And you have a thermometer in the back, gives you Celsius and Fahrenheit. It's about 82 degrees Fahrenheit right now. Cool, is what it is. But the reason why I purchased it is because I don't have any way of walking a straight line, which is the sole purpose of a compass. Now I checked this with my Suunto MC2, and right now it is accurate. It's west is that way. It's dead on. We have tick marks on here, and there seems to be 8 to the next letter, meaning direction. West, north, east, and south. Okay, so every one of those tick marks are worth about 10 degrees if you want to look at it like that. Now, here's my take on a button compass. Do they work? Yeah. And I've seen people sit here and take grid paper, spend an hour doing all this different stuff and making lines everywhere and go, well, I could do all these things. Again, if you go to the woods with a button compass and you're reduced to using the button compass and got to sit for an hour or two drawing things up that are going to be probably 80% accurate at best, and then try to navigate using that, Back to the Future. Somewhere back here you messed up and the timeline skewed off over here where you're screwed. Okay? Most compasses, either a lensetic, meaning a military Kamenga, or the base plate are meant to be up to your face, looking down and aiming into a direction to walk that straight line, or out in front of you, tilting the mirror, getting a point out in the distance where you can walk that straight line. A button compass, you can't do that. At best, if you draw a whole entire apparatus and do all this stuff for 2 hours and waste time and calories, you can set it on there and get an idea of where you're going, but it's never going to be 100% accurate. That's why button compasses are mainly used for cardinal direction, north, south, east, and west. So if you only care about walking west, there you go. You want to walk east, there you go. And can you walk through the woods and hold this like that? Yes, you can. So for the most part, if you want cardinal direction, it's golden. But if you're going to buy something like this and solely rely on it, you messed up somewhere in the past. Flashlight. For me, the sole intention of that would be to look for creepy crawlies at night, do a task at night if I have to. I hear something over there, it could be a bear, could be a bobcat, coyote, oh look, it's just a possum. I can flash this around and see my surroundings, things like that. My pet peeve of navigating or walking at night is only if I have to. Especially if you're a beginning student and you're learning land navigation and you're having a hard time doing it during the day and you're barely making it, to go, well, I'm going to try it at night. You basically are committing suicide if it was real, okay? If you're having a hard time doing things during the day, you're not going to magically do them at night. Make sense? You need to master the daytime before you attempt the nighttime. Far too often I've watched this and I'm like, okay, well, if they can't do it now, how are they going to do it then? And then you got people who are lost and panicked and you run around for 3 hours trying to find them. And meanwhile, they've learned nothing and they're not confident in their skills. So the way that it should go for a logical progression is practice the skills, hone the skills, then own the skills. So where am I going with this? Once you're skilled enough to land nav at night and you want to try that, be my guest. But you're going to want to be hands-free in the process. And any type of headlamp will work. This one right here is made by Energizer, and it gives you 2 options. They tend to have good gear. There's a rubber seal on the inside of this that will make it water resistant, maybe waterproof for so many hours. But again, would you have this on and swim underwater? Probably not. Let's go ahead and talk about food. Now, this was not a Walmart challenge where you got $100 and find the cheapest thing possible. I wanted to give you 2 options based on what I always talk about. For me, the first option for food is always going to be something that requires no heat. Can of tuna, can of ravioli, Spam singles, like these ones right here. If it's dumping rain, I can just put a poncho over my body. I haven't eaten in 18, 20 hours. I need that energy right now. I can bust one of these open and eat it. The only exception for me, or compromise, would be a meal that I could dump hot water into quickly or regular water and just let it sit. And that's going to be some type of dehydrated meal. Now, opening the meal and eating it, that's an MRE as well. So keep that in mind. What we did here is I found these Mountain House meals in the sports section. And that was kind of like the only requirement. This is not a $100 challenge. Like I said, we're not going to go through the store and just do what I wanted. I wanted to grab everything in the same area, with the exception of the Spam singles. That was just to give you an idea. You got the Mountain House, and this is chicken fried rice. They claim there's 2 servings in this, and there's 26 grams of protein per serving. Now, you and I both know there is 2 servings. Most people are going to eat the whole thing. And here's why. How are you going to refrigerate this and store it for later? You're not going to be able to. And if there's a lot of hot day or a lot of flies around, like there are right now, they get a chance to get into this, it's gone. So most of the time, you're going to have to eat this thing as soon as you open it, as soon as you make it, eat it. You're looking at 600 calories per container, which is not good. It seems to always be the issue with these meals. High protein, crap calories. And calories is the game changer. It's not the protein content. The calories are like carbs. They give you that energy. You need that in your body. A normal person, they say, needs 1,800. Bodybuilders need 10,000 or 20,000. So if you're not getting that, you're going to start feeling it. So keep that in mind as well. But something like this, hot water would be a morale booster, nice warm meal. Cold water will do the same exact thing. Take a little bit longer. The meal will rehydrate, and you can eat it that way as well. So again, something that requires no heat. Last thing we tossed in here was some plastic utensils, fork, spoon, and a knife, a couple dollars. Why? Because they're a little bit thicker than the MRE spoons. You can wash them, reuse them, and they should last. Like we said, the intent of this kit, take it out 3 to 5 times a year, camp with it, practice with it, and store it somewhere where you need it. Now, the one thing that was not shown was what? First aid kit. And here's why. Most first aid kits at Walmart's, Costco's, Harbor Freight's, places like that are what? 90% Band-Aids. And if you think that you need 100 Band-Aids and that they're going to save your life, you're sorely mistaken. And someone's going to say, well, you can build your own. You could. There's plenty of videos where you can go build your own. Okay? So I highly advise that. Or find something that actually is put together properly with the number one item that should be in every single first aid kit is a legit tourniquet. Another pet peeve of mine. I've said it over and over and over for the past couple of years. If you think that you should carry an extra item to be improvised as a life-saving item, just carry the life-saving item. Make sense? If you think, well, I'm cut down to the bone and my artery's cut, but I'm going to pull off my bootlace and I'm going to wrap around my leg and I'm going to hold on to it, you could probably do all that. But while you've done all that, you've lost several liters of blood, you're fading out, and how long are you going to hold that? Well, I could let go of it and then retie a knot. You could do all that, and maybe 1 in a million could actually go through all that and still live. But most likely you won't. You'll be dead. Okay, so again, if you're going to carry something like extra bootlaces to be improvised as a life-saving tourniquet, just carry the tourniquet. So since Walmart doesn't carry something like that, then why waste money on 100 Band-Aids? See the logic there? Okay. But this was just an example of what you could get as a base kit, 7 to 10 pounds. That weighs 7 pounds. And there's still room, once we pack all this back up, I'll show you, there's still room in that pack, that 30-liter pack, for more equipment. Next week, we'll take this gear out and actually use it and try a few different configurations and see how they work. And I got something else I want to try. And you notice there was no ground pad, so I want to try something else, but we'll get to that next week. This week here, I wanted to solely give you the reasons why we got these items over others and give you that thought process for a good emergency day bag. with wiggle room for what you feel you should add to it. On that note, that sends bad boy off. With that, all the gear in my videos can be found in 2 places. One, my Amazon affiliate page, and 2, my Etsy store. Both links are found inside my description box. Now please do me that favor. Hit that like and subscribe button, then ring that notification bell. Once you ring that bell, please select all notifications. And as always, thank you for your comments, views, and support. Thanks for watching. Get out in the field, have some fun. I'm going to catch you next time.